context of today's story, Jesus did not want to be famous. Matthew chapter 9, verse 26 through 38 says, "The fame of the raising of Jairus' daughter from the dead went abroad into all that land. And when Jesus left, 2 blind men followed him when he left Jairus' house. And they followed him crying and saying, 'You are the Son of David. Have mercy on us.' And when he was come into a house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said to them, 'Do you believe that I am able to do this?' And they said to him, 'Yes, Lord.' Then he touched their eyes, saying, 'In agreement with your faith, be it unto you.' And their eyes were opened. And Jesus strictly charged them, saying, 'See that no man knows about this.' But they, when they were departed, spread his fame in all that country. And as they went out, Jesus and his disciples, someone brought to him a mute man possessed with a devil. And when the devil was cast out, the mute man began to speak. And the crowds marveled, saying, 'Nothing like this has ever been done in Israel.' But the Pharisees said, 'He's casting out devils through the prince of devils.' And Jesus went around all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. But when he saw the crowds, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered as sheep having no shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, 'The harvest truly is plenteous.'" He's talking about the harvest of souls. "But there are not many laborers. Pray to the Lord of the harvest that he will send more laborers into his harvest." That's Matthew 9, 26 through 38. Just 3 observations concerning this package of miracles. There are 4 cases involved in this context. You have the 2 blind men. You have the dumb man or the mute man. You also have Jairus' daughter, who was raised from the dead earlier in this chapter, and the woman with the issue of blood. That story showed up in the middle of the story of Jairus' daughter. So 4 miracles that Matthew crammed into this one setting. 4 different cases, each one unique. So you have the 4 cases involved, then you have the condition of the people. The 2 blind men would have been beggars. They would have been familiar in their community. Kind of like, I don't know, if you lived in a area in Baltimore where the same homeless guy was always at the same red light, wearing the same clothes with a "We'll work for food" sign. If he was there day after day after day for who knows how long, months or years, and then suddenly he's not there anymore, and you see him, in a business suit driving a Mercedes or something, you would take notice. So they're 2 blind men. They were familiar beggars. This was their condition in the culture, in the society. And then the girl that was raised from the dead, she was the daughter of the leader of the synagogue. And then the lady who had the issue of blood, she was healed in the midst of a very large crowd, a very large group of people, and Jesus called attention to her healing. And then the guy that was mute or dumb and began to speak, obviously his zeal was great. He was excited because he could talk now. Even though Jesus said, "Don't tell anybody," it said he blazed abroad loudly what had happened to him. So in every case, in all 4 of these miracles, in every case, there were circumstances that naturally contributed to Jesus becoming increasingly famous. Now, he had said to the maniac of Gadara prior to these 4 miracles, "Go tell everybody." Well, he said, "Go tell the people in your house, in your family," and the maniac, who was no longer a maniac, then proceeded to tell all the people in the 10 cities of that region. So Jesus was not fighting against fame in that particular context, but here he seems to be fighting against fame, like he put all the people out before he raised Jairus' daughter from the dead. And he said to the mute man, shh, don't tell anybody about this. So he doesn't want to be famous in this case, or he seems to be fighting against this fame. But the condition in all four circumstances with these miracles, the condition was such that his fame was inevitable. So we have the four cases involved, we have the condition of the people, and then number 3, we have the consequences of the miracles. Jesus became famous. Eventually, the fame that he got, not just through these miracles, but through all the things that he was doing, the fame contributed to resistance against him by the powerful people at that time and in that place. And so that led to his arrest, and that led to his execution. Was Jesus trying to avoid the cross? Well, we know that's not the case. Of course, it wasn't time for him to die yet. Of course, early on, his fame actually caused people to want to take him and by force make him their king and to set up a rebellion against the Romans right away. So perhaps that's why he was fighting against fame. If you think about the parables that Jesus used in his ministry, he actually said that he used parables to hide the truth from those who were not worthy of it. So, in a sense, there were a lot of things about Jesus' life and ministry that he did that seemed to push against the concept of him becoming really well known, him becoming famous. Is that still his perspective today, though? Does he still want to be unknown? Does he still want to hide? Would he say to any of us, don't tell anybody what I've done for you? I think right the opposite is the case now. He said to his apostles, I've spoken to you in secret, but I want you to go out and shout from the housetops the truth that you have learned from me. After Pentecost, it was no longer a matter of, hey, keep quiet. Now we are supposed to do everything we can possibly do to make Jesus famous. Because how can people believe on a Savior that they don't know about? So that's our job as evangelists, to make Jesus famous with the things we say, with the things we do, with who we are. Are you making Jesus famous?